Dear students, we are going to start a new chapter from the paper Drug and Dyes, that is analgesic and antipyretic. So what is mean by analgesic and what are the types of analgesic drugs, and what is antipyretic and what are the types of antipyretic drugs, we will see one by one. So analgesic means what? So analgesic are nothing but these are selective CNS depressants. CNS means what? Central nervous system depressant. So these drugs bring about insensibility to pain without the loss of consciousness. Means when we getting more pain, then doctor gives us analgesic. So what it do? These analgesic drugs directly affect on the central nervous system and they depress the CNS activity, and because of that, which brings about insensibility to pain without any loss in the consciousness. So the term analgesic comes from the Greek word meaning without pain. So when we take analgesic drugs, then we lose the sensitivity towards the pain, but there is no any loss of consciousness. So on the basis of this property, analgesic potency and difference in the development of dependence and tolerance analgesics are commonly divided into two classes. So depending upon the function of that drug, these are again differentiated and developed into the narcotics and non-narcotics. So you have heard about narcotic drugs and non-narcotic. So narcotic drugs are nothing but which strongly act on central nervous system of the brain. Okay, and non-narcotics means which mildly act on peripheral nervous system. They don't have effect on the CNS. So narcotic drugs have effect on the CNS, and non-narcotic drugs mildly act on the peripheral nervous system of the body. So now we are going to know what is meant by narcotic and what is meant by non-narcotic drugs. What is, now see here the narcosis point. It can be defined as unconsciousness produced by a drug. When we take a drug, we are completely in a sound sleep, that is we get into sleep. We don't know what actually happening. So such drugs are known as the narcotic drugs, because when we take these narcotic drugs, we becomes unconsciousness. So these narcotic are drugs which induce abnormally deep sleep and produce increased tolerance to pain. And we lose the external stimuli, or we doesn't feel the touch of the doctors and the feeling of well-being. So when we take these narcotic drugs, we completely lost our sensation and we go into the deep sleep. So this narcotic analgesic cause respiratory depression and cerebral vasodilation in CNS. Why this happen? Why when we take this drug, why we get into deep sleep? Because when we take these drugs, they cause a respiratory depression, means our respiratory function goes on slow. Means if we take the breathing 16 times a minute, when we take these narcotic drugs, now the rate of respiration is get decreased, and because of the cerebral vasodilation in the CNS. The cessation of respiration is the cause of death in narcotic poisoning. We heard about the rave parties, okay, drug parties. So what happened there? If the person or a boy take more drug in a single dose, then that drug directly act on the CNS, and if it is a narcotic drug, then we lost our sensation and we go into the deep sleep, and if there is a dose of that drug is more, then we come to death. So because of this poisoning, the prolonged administration of these drugs can produce tolerance and psychic and physical dependence called addiction. So if you take a single drug daily, then it becomes addicted. So due to their very high analgesic action, they are also called as narcotic analgesic. So these drugs have very high analgesic action because we lost our sensation when we take these drugs. Therefore, these drugs are called as narcotic analgesic. The second drug is an antipyretic. An antipyretic is a drug which is responsible for lowering our body temperature or lowering the body temperature of the animal towards the normal, but it has no effect on normal temperature state. So when we have a fever, then we take an antipyretic drug, that you know the example, that is paracetamol, crocin. So these drugs are nothing but these are the antipyretic drugs and which are responsible for lowering the body temperature. So there is no effect on the normal body temperature when we take these antipyretic drugs. So how it plays and what is the role of this drug and where it acts on the body. Now see here, the hypothalamus of the brain plays an important role in thermoregulatory response of the body. So our body temperature is regulated by a hypothalamus which is present in the brain. Okay, therefore this hypothalamus controls the body temperature. So there are two ways to control the body temperature. The first is, now see here, the more important one of these is cutaneous vasodilation, and the other one being an increase in sweat gland activity. So there is an increase in vasodilation or increase in the function of sweat gland activity. So you know this is a common symptom when we have a fever. If you take a drug, then we get sweating. So because when we take that drug, the sweat gland activity get increased, and because of that our body temperature is get regulated by this hypothalamus. The increase in temperature is brought about by hypothalamus, which reduce heat loss by peripheral vasoconstriction and increase heat production by shivering. So now see here, what is the mean of shivering here? Increase in muscle activity, which in turn produces heat. So it then regulate around a new setting. So here the increase in temperature is brought about by hypothalamus, which reduces heat loss by peripheral vasoconstriction and increase heat production by shivering. So this antipyretic drug is most important drug and it is responsible for lowering our body temperature to the normal. So we will see the type of narcotic analgesic drugs. So the first is, now see here, narcotic analgesic. Opium, you know this, you have heard this word. Opium is nothing but it is a dried milky exudate of unripe seed capsules of species of plant called Pfeffer somniferum. If you search this opium in a Google, you will get the plant. So this is an opium and it is extracted from the seed of that Pfeffer somniferum. So this opium alkaloid and their derivatives are the narcoanalgesic drugs. So this opium is a narcoanalgesic drug. So these opium alkaloids exist as two distinct structural classes. So there are two structural classes of these opium alkaloids. The first is phenanthrene. The example of this phenanthrene is morphine, codeine and thebaine. And the second type of these narcotic drugs are benzyl isoquinolines. So we will see the example of this these two structures, that is phenanthrene derivatives and benzyl isoquinoline derivatives. So the first narcotic analgesic drug is morphine. So you have heard about this morphine in a news, that is in a rave party. So most of the people, they take this morphine drug as an narcotic drugs. Now see the structure of this morphine. It is very big structure, and if you see this structure, so the structure is of phenanthrene structure and it is a derivative of phenanthrene. So this morphine is a principal alkaloid constituent of opium. So it is the constituent, that is principal constituent of this opium seed. Okay. So it was first isolated in 1805. So in 1805, this morphine is discovered as a narcotic drug. So the structure of morphine, it consists of 5 rigid rings. So A, B, C, D, and another one is E is there. 5 rigid rings with partially hydrogenated phenanthrene moiety. So it is partially hydrogenated structure of phenanthrene is there. So this active form of morphine is a levorotatory. So there are, that is dextro and levorotatory. The active form of this morphine is a levorotatory. So this morphine is a white needle-shaped crystal, and these are odorless and have a bitter taste. So this morphine is almost insoluble in water, but soluble in alkali and forms water-soluble salt with acid. So if you see the structure of this morphine, so I have written the structure R, that is alkyl group in a blue color, R dash. If this both R and R dash are H, then this is a morphine structure. If both the R are become COCH3, then it is a heroin. And if it is one R is CH3 and R dash is H, then it is known as codeine. So this is a structure of morphine, and it is mostly used as a narcotic drug. Now see here, what is the use of this morphine then? So the morphine is a potent narcotic analgesic and relieves all types of severe pains caused by serious injury, neoplasm. If you have a tumor, then it removes all the severe pains of this tumor, or if the injury is made there, then it completely removes that pain. So if you have a migraine, then most of these patients use a morphine as an narcotic drug. Pleurisy, biliary and renal colitis. So different types of diseases are there, and to remove or to decrease the pain of these diseases, the doctor gives morphine. Now see here, when the morphine is given, so now see here, it is a habit forming. If you take morphine once or 2 times, then we get addicted to this morphine. Therefore it is a habit forming, hence should be given only when other pain relieving drugs prove to be inaddictive. If other drugs are not good towards our disease, then the doctor prescribes us morphine as a narcotic drug. It is also administered as a preoperative sedative. Preoperative means it calms down a patient just prior to surgery. Before the surgery, the patient has given this morphine as a preoperative sedative. So this is what morphine is there, and morphine is nothing but it is a narcotic analgesic drug, and it has a power to relieve all the pains caused by injuries and different tumors in the body. So the second is non-narcotics. Just we have seen what is meant by narcotic and what is example of narcotic, that is morphine is an example of narcotic drug. So the second point is non-narcotic drug. The non-narcotic analgesic as a group of this group relieve pain without interacting with opioid receptors of our brain. So these drugs are non-narcotics, and they relieve pain of our body without any interaction with these opioid receptors. They possess anti-inflammatory property. So the inflammation, and these drugs act as an anti-inflammatory property and are also known as non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAID, that is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. Further, they elevate body temperature, and they also act as an antipyretic. They are non-addictive. This is the most important point here, because these non-narcotics are non-addictive, but narcotics are addictive drugs. Non-narcotics are classified on the basis of their different chemical structures. If you see here, they have given different structures or different types. So these non-narcotics drugs are classified as a cyclohexanol derivatives. So example is tramadol, salicylate, and their derivatives is an aspirin, para-aminophenol derivative is there, pyrazole derivative, phenyl acetic acid derivative. If indole structure is there, it is an indole derivative drug. Propionic acid derivative is there, and phenamates is there. So example, if you see the example of this non-narcotic drugs, tramadol, aspirin, phenacetin, paracetamol, phenylbutazone, diclofenac, indomethacin, ibuprofen, mefenamic acid. So you heard all these drugs. If you take a syrup for the children's or for us, then there is a mention of different drugs name, that is mefenamic acid is there, or ibuprofen syrup is there, or it is a combination of diclofenac and different drugs. So these non-narcotic drugs are non-addictive, therefore these drugs also act as an anti-inflammatory and antipyretic drugs. So they have given an example here. The example is tramadol, that is cyclohexanol derivative. So these are recent drugs used as an analgesic which are derivatives of cyclohexanol. So this tramadol acts as an analgesic drug. They produce analgesic action similar to opiates. It is formed as a mixture of cis and trans forms. The trans isomer has actually the analgesic action. If you see the structure, so a cyclohexane structure at the left hand side, and it has attached with so this cyclohexane has OH group is there, and it is bonded with a phenyl group, and it has OCH3, and at the bottom there is a dimethylamine group is there. So this is this is a structure of tramadol. There are two isomers of this tramadol, one is trans isomer, another is cis isomer. So the trans isomer has the analgesic action on the human being. So how to synthesize this tramadol? So we are going to synthesize, and we are going to see different steps which are involved for the synthesis of this tramadol. So one by one we will see here. So the first step, if you see here, the salicylic acid is reduced to give 2-hydroxycyclohexane 1-carboxylic acid. So this salicylic acid is reduced by a catalytic hydrogenation to a 2-hydroxycyclohexane 1-carboxylic acid, and which on oxidation with a chromic acid, the OH group of this ring is get oxidized into the ketonic functional group. The product which we obtained in the first step is a 2-oxacyclohexane carboxylic acid. So this is the first product of during the synthesis of this tramadol. In the second step, what we do here, we are taking a 3-bromoanisole. If you see here, 3-bromoanisole, I will show here 3-bromoanisole. So this 3-bromoanisole is converted to Grignard reagent by reacting with magnesium in ether solvent. So here is 3-bromo group, bromine group is there, and when it is reacted with magnesium, then it converted into the RMJX, that is, it is converted into a Grignard reagent, that is 3-methoxyphenyl. So this is a 3-methoxyphenyl magnesium bromide is formed here. So this compound is now we are going to treat this compound with the first compound which is obtained in the first step, that is 2-oxacyclohexane carboxylic acid. So now see here, so this compound is reacted with this molecule. So the Grignard reagent attacks on this cyclohexanol, on this carbonyl group. So I will show with different color. So this carbon attacks here on this carbon, and the oxygen double bond is broken down, and oxygen has a negative charge. So this structure now here, this is a 1, 2, 3. So at the third position methoxy group is there, and the first carbon attacks on the carbonyl group of this oxacyclohexane acid compound. So what happened here? So this becomes an OH. This becomes an OH, and this group is attached with this compound. So here, if you see here, this compound is reacted with the first compound which is obtained in the first step, then we are getting this molecule. So in the next step, when this molecule having a functional group carboxylic acid, when it is reacted with dimethylamine, condensation reaction takes place. So this methyl amine group attacks on the carbonyl functional group, and there is a formation of carbon double bond oxygen, that is CONH2. So CONCH3CH3 group is formed. So after that, there is a reduction with lithium aluminum tetrahydride. Then the carbonyl functional group is get reduced. So this group is get reduced into the CH2 group, and we are getting the tramadol as a compound. So this is the synthesis of this tramadol. So again I will repeat. The first step is the salicylic acid is reduced by catalytic hydrogenation into this 2-hydroxycyclohexane 1-carboxylic acid, and when this molecule undergoes oxidation with a chromic acid, then the OH group of this compound is get oxidized into carbonyl functional group. In the next step, the 3-bromoanisole is reacted with magnesium, then this compound is converted into a Grignard reagent, and this molecule is reacted with the first compound which is obtained in the first step, and we are getting this structure. So finally, when this compound is condensed with a dimethylamine, then we are getting this product, and which on reduction with lithium aluminum tetrahydride, the carbonyl function is get reduced into CH2. So this is the synthesis of tramadol from salicylic acid. So the second, what is the use of this tramadol? Just we know that tramadol is a potent analgesic used in case of severe physical pain. If you have physical pain, then you can go to the medical shop and you can ask to the tramadol drug. The second non-narcotic drug is an aspirin. So it is also known as acetyl salicylic acid. So in our lab, we do experiment with this aspirin compound. So this acetyl salicylic acid were among the first analgesic to get recognized. So the first analgesic which is recognized is a salicylates, and it is a white crystalline powder, slightly soluble in water but soluble in alcohol, chloroform and ether. So this compound is stable in dry air, but in presence of moisture it get hydrolyzed into acetic acid and salicylic acid. So what is the use of this aspirin? So this aspirin is used as an antipyretic, anti-inflammatory and analgesic in a variety of conditions ranging from headache, discomfort, fever and associated with common cold, muscular pain and ashes. So this compound has a lot of functions, that it acts as an antipyretic, anti-inflammatory and analgesic drug. So the aspirin has 3 functions. It is an excellent antipyretic due to its high degree of effectiveness and wide safety margin. So it acts as an antipyretic, excellent antipyretic drug. The third compound or third drug is para-aminophenol. They are also known as a coal tar analgesic as they are derived from aniline. Among the isomers of aminophenols, the para isomer is found to be a least toxic. If you see the example here, paracetamol, it is also known as a crocin. So see the structure of this paracetamol. At the para position, hydroxyl group, NHCOCH3 group. So OH and NHCOCH3 are at the para to each other. It is a metabolite of phenacetin and acetanilide and used as an antipyretic and an analgesic drug. So it is used as an antipyretic and analgesic. It may be used effectively in broad spectrum of arthritic and rheumatic condition linked with musculoskeletal pain. If you have a pain in the knee or pain in the head, then we recommend, or then we go into the clinic and ask to the uh, paracetamol, and it is known as a crocin also. So it is particularly useful in aspirin sensitive patients. So some of the patients are sensitive to aspirin tablets, then doctor recommend them the paracetamol. So this is the topic, that is uh, analgesic and antipyretic drug. So we have seen what is meant by analgesic and antipyretic, what are the narcotic and non-narcotic drugs, what are the antipyretic meaning. Then we have seen what is morphine, that is narcotic drug, and we have seen non-narcotic drugs, in that tramadol is there, and we have seen the synthesis tramadol from salicylic acid. The second compound is an aspirin, third is an para-aminophenol, that is paracetamol. So the most important part of this topic is we must know what is meant by analgesic, what is meant by antipyretic, what is meant by anti-inflammatory drug, and what are the example of this anti-inflammatory analgesic drugs. Suppose anyone ask you, go to the medical shop and ask them for the antipyretic drug, then you go, you can say that, say him that the paracetamol is a good drug for the antipyretic. So you must know the examples of these drugs, the structure of these drugs, and the mechanism of action of these drugs on the human body. So in the next chapter we will start with the new drugs.